Welcome to Shelf Life, the monthly series where I look at games I covered about 6 months ago and let you know whether they're still in my collection. And today I'm looking at games from July of 2024, so let's find out which of them had shelf life. So first, we only had 2 games for crowdfunding this month, not a ton. First one was Dungeon Rummy, and this one tried to take the idea of shedding games and rummy games and to turn them into a cooperative kind of dungeon experience. I didn't really like it that much. I thought it was just okay, especially the solo mode I thought was not the best way to play the game. It seemed much more interesting with 3 or 4 players. So not one that I necessarily want to play more in the future, but others might enjoy it. That's Dungeon Rummy. And then the other crowdfunding game is The Cursed Castle, which I believe has been delivering, but I have not gotten a final copy. I'm not sure if I'm going to get one or not. I thought this was pretty good. Not at the top of the Gabe Barrett solo series games for me, but a pretty fun time using a lot of dice mitigation. There could be maybe a bit more variety in the gameplay, but I still enjoyed what I saw. And the art, kind of the Darkest Dungeon style art they have is a lot of fun. So that is Cursed Castle. I would like to play this one again, but again, not sure if I'm going to get it. And getting to the release games, first is Encounters Shattered Waste. This is a JRPG-inspired boss battler, and I did not end up keeping this one. It's a solid game, but I did find the kind of cycle of breaking the boss's guard and then actually hurting them over and over again to be a little bit repetitive, and the game was a little bit more reliant on luck than I personally prefer, but I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this one. That's Encounters Shattered Waste. But then on the keeper side of things, we've got Great Western Trail New Zealand, one of my favorite Euros out there, especially for competitive play. The solo is good, though. It is a solid solo mode. There is some variety in how the AI plays out. It's not entirely balanced, but I still think it's a good game. But yeah, just the core gameplay in this is such a lot of fun. Deck building mixed with kind of rondellish worker placement stuff. Just a great game. That is a keeper. Great Western Trail New Zealand. And we're right back to a call with Rolling Realms Redo, or Redux. And this is actually, I think, an improvement on the original Rolling Realms. I really, really like the new solo mode they have, where it's kind of like a league where you're trying to get promoted and not relegated and improve your standings. I think that's great. I'm just not a big fan of rolling rights. So there's nothing against the game. I just wouldn't keep this kind of one regardless. That's Rolling Realms Redo. And then jumping to another keep, we've got the third set in the Kinfire Delve series, Callous's Lab. This is not my favorite set, but it's still a keeper because I really like this series. Both of the characters in this one are really good, almost too good, especially the dwarf wizard, where I feel like they're maybe a little bit too simplistic to play. And then also this boss is not the toughest of the boss. I think I might have found it to be the easiest of the 3. So this is a good set, I think, if it's maybe your entry point into the series and you want to have an easier time with it. But I do prefer the other 2 sets over this one, but that doesn't mean that it's not great. I still want to have all the characters and all the bosses. So that is Kinfire Delve, Callous's Lab. Then we've got another keeper, Adventure Party. This is a sort of narrative cooperative game where you're telling little stories together using D20 dice, kind of like a narrative tell-a-story mode for Dungeons & Dragons, and it's a lot of fun. Now, specifically, my kids really like this one, and they demanded that I keep it. I might have called it otherwise, but they like playing the game. They like just rolling the dice and telling the stories, so it's a keeper for my family. That's Adventure Party. And next is the Endbringer expansion for Sorcerer, and I really like Sorcerer for competitive play. It's got kind of like Magic the Gathering-ish vibes, and you can combine these decks together in really cool ways. But the co-op mode in Endbringer, I did not really enjoy much at all. I think it's poorly balanced, and I didn't really want to play it much anymore, so this was a call for sure. That's Sorcerer Endbringer. Next up is Middara, and this is sadly another call. I really, really enjoyed this game. I did a re-review for it and just thought it was kind of awesome the second time I played it, but it's just a very long game. And with Act 2 and Act 3, I think still on the horizon and not coming yet, it's just the kind of game I know I'm never going to actually finish. But I really, really enjoyed it. So for big dungeon crawl fans, I definitely strongly recommend it. It's just it doesn't fit into my life and my free time. That's Middara, another call. Jeebus, I covered a lot of games this month. But the next one is Landmarks. This is a keep. When I first played this, it was challenging. So Clover and Code Names and those kind of games for my favorite ones of these casual kind of word-based games. I would say I've cooled on it slightly, but it's definitely still in that rotation. And my son likes to play it a lot. He really likes to be the clue giver. So this is not what's going to stick around for my family. Enjoy it. I'm maybe not quite as high on it as I was when I first played it, but I still really have a good time with it. That's Landmarks. Then one that I didn't have that good of a time with is Ultimatch. It's kind of like Uno-ish, going through this pyramid, trying to match up your cards before you run out. It was fine. It felt like the strategy was basically the same thing each time. I didn't find the cooperative play that engaging. It's an okay little game. So that's Ultimatch, a call. And then we have Harmonies. I enjoy this one pretty well for competitive play. I found the solo mode a little weird and like the balance in it a little iffy. But still, it's a pretty game. It's quick to play. I would have no problem playing it with my groups and such. But for me personally, I don't need to own this, so Harmonies is also a call. And then next, a strong keep is the Mandalorian Adventures. This shouldn't be a surprise if you watch my favorite games of the year videos, because this ranked pretty highly. But yeah, I really enjoy this one. I'm super excited for the Season 2 box that's coming, where you can mix and match everything and just have crazy variety in the gameplay. But this one continues to be a favorite. That is the Mandalorian Adventures, a keep. Then next is Peacemakers, Horrors of War. This is the follow-up to Dawn of Peacemakers. I think it is a beautiful redo of a game. The components are lovely. The redesign is really good. But I still don't love this game with more than 1 or 2 players. I feel like it's kind of awkward to have the card play and dealing with the armies with a higher player count. So that was enough that I didn't feel the need to keep it. But still, beautiful game. Really cool one if you're interested, especially for solo or 2-player. That is Peacemakers, Horrors of War. And almost done. Jeez, so many games this month. Next is Army of the Dead, one of the Zombicide games. And I thought this was cool. I really liked the changes with ammo and with the way they use vehicles, although that's in some other Zombicide games, and the sort of sleeping zombies that had a bit of a stealth element in there. I thought all of that was really fun. Now, it's still a Zombicide game, and Zombicide is not my favorite series. I generally rather play Death May Die or some other things, Deep Rock Galactic. But it's a good game, and this is, I think, one of the better standalone entries in the series. So if you want to check out Zombicide, Army of the Dead, I don't think it'll do you wrong, but it's a call for me. And last one is Chocobo's Dungeon. I thought this was a really cool game with sort of limited communication and this interesting little spinning wheel of actions. Great mechanics overall. I do think it is tuned way too hard, especially at lower player counts, so I think you need to be happy with doing house rules and stuff to make the game a bit more winnable. But still a good game, just my family wanted to play it and it was too hard for them, so it was another call. So not a terrible month. I kept 5 games, which is a pretty high number, but when you consider that I covered so many games in the same month, that is not quite as impressive. But let's see which of you were able to read my mind and get to the contest results. Starting with Group 1, 46% got the right choice, Great Western Trail, New Zealand. 42% said none of them, only 12% pricked Encounters, Shattered Wastes. Group 2 was the most confident out of the entire set. Kinfire Delve got 88%, none got 7, and Rolling Realms only got 5. I think Group 3 was the biggest spoiler. None of them got 78. Adventure Party, Blame My Kids, got 13, and Sorcerer Endbringer got 9%, messed up a bunch of you. For Group 4, none of them got 42%. The correct answer, Landmarks, got 35, and Middara got 23. There's a lot of groups. Group 5, Harmonies got 56%, messed up a bunch of you as well. None of them got 35. Ultimatch got 9. Almost there. Group 6, Mandalorian, correct answer got 60, and then we had a tie with Peacemakers and none of them at 20%. And finally, Group 7, none of them got 61%. Chocobo's Dungeon, 23. Army of the Dead, 16. And in terms of the winner, who got 6 out of 7 correct? Frank Dowd, Kevin Willis, Kyle Bruner, and Chris Weimer. But did anybody get 7 out of 7? And yes, indeed, just Daniel Kovac. So no roll-off needed this month. Daniel nailed them all. I don't even know how that's even possible. But yeah, Daniel, I'll be in touch. Thanks for playing. And everybody else, check the video description. You can enter next month's contest. See you at the next stop.